we ready? Are we ready for our third monthly money recap? Okay, this is the video where I get into what I spent last month, how I did compared to what I had planned for myself, for ourselves, because I do this alongside my partner. And we also take a look at the month we're gonna have coming up. So in this case, we're taking a look back at March and we're looking ahead to April. For all of those who are new here and joining for the first time, hello, welcome. I'm Danielle and I make videos from a first-gen experience. So everything is just taken from my lens, being first-gen, daughter of immigrants, and also someone who's currently navigating unemployment. So if that sounds like something that you can relate to or videos you'd like to see more of, please hit that subscribe button and just watch. Let's see what this last month brought to us. March was full of highlights. A lot of great things happened in March. Trips were taken, people were celebrated, and yeah, on the money side, we also had a pretty good month, but just some highlights related to our monthly money tracking. I attended a bachelorette, which I had planned for months, and obviously that stuff costs money, so you'll see some of that reflected here, but you'll also notice that the miscellaneous category, which is where I'm spending on the bachelorette side, is lower because I spent a lot upfront in February and was reimbursed in March. Or yes, I was reimbursed in March from everybody who attended the bachelorette. So had a fun time celebrating my friend who is getting married this week. Actually, we are headed back to where we got married. I am excited to be back, but bachelorette done, March. Ari also started a part-time job in March, which helps a lot with just the way things went in this past month. You'll see that it's the first month of this year that we're finally not taking from our savings to pay for our life. So the part-time job, huge win for us. And then the third thing I have here is our trip, my sister's trip to Amsterdam. So I took a trip. I know a lot of people had comments about how are you going on so many trips when you're unemployed? These things are pre-planned and you can't really help it, but want to continue to live your life and experience life even though you are unemployed. So that's just kind of my philosophy around life and travel. And so I'm very happy that, I went on this trip. We did spend over what I had planned, but I'll talk more about that in our spending plan breakdown. And then number 4, money highlight for the month of March, we did our taxes for the first time as a married couple. So I think, yes, Ari did our taxes and we filed as married, filing jointly. And wow, like that was a huge shock compared to the refund aspect of it from what I normally get when I'm single and working full-time for a whole year. So 2023, I think we must have overpaid a lot in taxes together, but also both of us being unemployed. I don't know what happened, but we did get a good tax refund. So we got about $9,000 back for our tax refund, and all of that is going into our savings fund. So just reloading that savings fund to kind of continue weathering us through this unemployment period. Another highlight unrelated to money is Ari's 32nd birthday was celebrated, and you're gonna see that in our miscellaneous category. Some of that spending was towards his birthday party, surprise birthday party that we had. But yeah, March was full of a lot of celebration, a lot of good times with good people. Now let's take a look at the actual spending plan that we had in place for the month of March. So March, we had, and I'm going through it line item by line item. So expected income, we have unemployment here. That stays the same, right? There is an expected income here of the $2,900 and change. We continued to resell items, and I showed those in some previous vlogs, but I sold a chair that I had, a purple chair that I wasn't using, sitting in the corner of my office area, and we also sold the white pillar candles from our wedding. We still have not sold the lavender or light rose ones. I don't know why people just aren't particularly into that color theme, but I have them still listed. So if you are and you are in this area, let me know. So reselling was continued to be a category for us. And then Ari's part-time job, this came through for us. It really did. I don't know why it took us so long to have Ari start a part-time job. I think the biggest thing, and even for me now, is like, we want part-time jobs to have the money, but we also don't want it to take up the time that we are going to be spending physically at the part-time job. Like, Ari goes in person, right? And so when he's not here, or when he's there, he's not here applying to jobs and whatnot. But also we need the money. So it was kind of like, yeah, we need to start part-time jobs. And we'll talk more about that in April. The part-time job really helped, although it is only temporary. And I will share more about that when we get to the April section. But for the month of March, we made a total of $5,200 and some change. Yeah! So must pays clearly stays the same. We did have a $13 Copilot expense. I have the subscription to kind of be able to track our spending without us manually having to insert every single expense of ours. So I do pay $13 for that. It's a subscription. I'm gonna see how I like continuing to use it, but I am the only one who is using it right now because we have to figure out how to like set it up for Ari's computer, given the passwords he needs to be able to access the same account that I have access to. Okay, so that is our monthly must pays, which totaled up to $1,439. Now let's go into the spending money category. So spending plan is on the left. We had, I pre-highlighted all of these too, so I can kind of share the ones that I'm like, we did good in, and the red ones are the ones we can dive deeper into. So transportation, we stayed pretty much as expected, $300 for transportation. We had set aside $600 for groceries, and we only spent $464. That is pretty good, and I'm gonna talk more about this when we go into like the specific dive in, because we did do our cash envelopes, and so this is everything that was included in that cash envelope phase. So we'll dive into kind of the March specifics, and because I want to talk about the cash envelopes. So personal care, this is something that we had allotted a $245 total to, because we thought that Ari's signing up for his hockey league would be happening in March, but it didn't happen, and so this is why we were under that. Medical care and health care, this amount, the $559, you would think like, oh, that's to pay for health insurance. No, actually our health insurance costs about $800. So no, this is everything that's not included in your health insurance plan. Shopping under, fine, as expected. We don't do much shopping anyway. I think, we had allotted that because we knew some expenses we'd need to make, but not surprising. Gifting, $11. Entertainment over budget. So we'll talk about that one. Housing related, we didn't have much, just I think this is like toothpaste and toothbrush heads. For travel, this is the over category that I kind of briefly talked about in the highlights. So we'll dive into that one. Pet, this one went over, but nothing that is worth talking about, just basic dog needs. And miscellaneous also went over, but nothing too wild, so didn't highlight that. Now we have eating out. Eating out, we went over double, basically. So I wanted to talk more about that. I also kind of justified it to myself by saying, well, we stayed under in the grocery category. So, if we think about how much we spent on groceries and eating out, like, could that be under, $600? No, but could it be under $800? That that is the spending plan that we had mapped out in the beginning and what we ended up with at the end. So let's go into the deeper dives of those categories that I highlighted in red. But before we go into that, I kind of want to take a look back at what we had in our categories here. So usually this is filled out, but Ari and I have our money date tomorrow, and I just wanted to get this recorded as soon as possible. So this will be filled out once we meet to be able to talk about like the things that went right and, you know, how we can look forward. So that stuff is blank for now. But looking ahead, so we wanted to start the month by saying like, we know that we have these trips coming up, and we're just gonna have to limit ourselves and our spending. So I said I was not gonna do any souvenir shopping. I didn't go wild on that. I spent about $60 on souvenirs. And so I did do shopping. I bought myself some tea cups. So that was souvenir for myself and Ari, but then I got like magnets and smaller item things. So we also had here the new hockey equipment, which did show up in our category for miscellaneous, I believe, or no, personal care, but it wasn't to the extent that we were expecting. And lastly, the league for hockey, we did not end up signing up Ari in March, so we could expect that in April. Now, where did we want to challenge our spendings? So if you watched our no spend challenge video, you know that we were doing a no spend the last 2 weeks of March. And so we wanted to do a no spend, but also use cash envelopes. So I had stolen these from Chase, and you know, we were tracking like how we did with everything. And I wanna say that for the most part, we did pretty good at using cash. So entertainment is blank and we did spend money on entertainment because it's not something that I could use cash on, right? So I bought tickets to go to a birthday event for my friend, and it was online order of those tickets. I could have waited till we were there to buy the tickets in person with cash, but it could have been sold out, and also they usually make it more expensive when you're there and buying it last minute. So entertainment, we didn't really get to use cash for. Transportation, you can see that, yeah, we did use the cash that we had on here. There was no transportation that was put on credit cards, so I'm happy to say that, you know, we did stick to this is public transportation. Okay, so yes, I did use cash for public transportation. That's why you have the categories here. Even though I really wanted to use the app, I said, let me stick to the cash envelopes. Danielle and Ari miscellaneous. These were $20 that we had just given to each other to spend however we wanted. Ended up not using any of the cash that was in here. I didn't use any of the cash that was in here. Ari used it to have a night out and eat out when he was on his own, while I was using our entertainment money to hang out with my friend for his birthday. Actually, Ari has a funny story. He tried to use the $20 bill to get food, and then the food was $20.23, and he did not have the 23 cents, and so he had to use his card. So he tried to use the cash, but he didn't have all he needed. And for food, we did very well using cash. And I think it helped us keep the rest of our food budget to where it was, because we were only using this envelope every time we were going to Trader Joe's, every time we went to the supermarket. We were like, no, it needs to come out of here. And for transportation as well, simply used the cash here for gas and transportation needs. Now for tolls, that stuff did not use cash for, because we have Easy Pass, which we pay on a quarterly basis and is due in April. So we'll talk about that in April. That was the no spend cash envelopes. We had a really fun time doing them, I think. I was surprised to see Ari being like, you know, let me get a pen, let me write down what the gas total was. First time doing it. I think it went well. Let's dive into the items that we had highlighted. Medical care. Why are things so expensive? You can see that we have a bunch of copays, and then we have a $100 expense, a $230 expense. So the 106, I got my gum filled, my tooth here. It was necessary. It was hurting every time I was eating something cold. And so I had to get that done. And that was the 106 charge, which luckily a big portion of that was covered by our health insurance. And that's part of the reason why I'm happy that I still, because I know a lot of people forego their health insurance when they are unemployed because it costs a lot of money. It costs $800 a month just to have health insurance. Ari and I, we are very risk averse when it comes to health stuff. He has his issues with health. He has Crohn's disease, so can't just like go without health insurance. I just know how much health and medical debt exists in this country and how people go into bankruptcy because of medical bills. And I, even with insurance, so without insurance, I'm just not trying to risk that. I am not trying to risk that. So we pay a lot for health insurance, and still we have these copays for the dentist or copays that we have to pay for. And I'm okay doing that. I'm okay doing that for right now. Ari had a sleeping test, so that was the $230 that cost to try to figure out like why he's having all these sleeping pains. And then he also had a charge come through from like last year. This PT company is like, you still haven't paid this, so we've paid that as well. So that's kind of like, I mean, things that you really can't avoid. I'm not gonna not pay a medical bill because that could end up hurting our credit. So necessary expenses, one would say. Entertainment, let's look further. We have the birthday event that I went to. We also have Ari's birthday. So I bought alcohol for, his friends to come here, like surprise him. I returned all the high noons we did not drink. That is my new hack. Like, I never know how much to buy. And so I rather overbuy than underbuy. And thankfully there's a good return policy. So anything that was not opened went back to the liquor store. In terms of, let's see, snacks, Ari, for Ari's birthday, had to like buy things for people to snack on while they're here. And then Ari's going to a hockey game with his sister next month, or this month. So that's that charge here. Pretty straightforward entertainment category. I think maybe we could have accounted better for having the birthdays cost, but I mean, it's pretty nominal. Let's look at the travel. Okay. All of this is Amsterdam and actually Japan as well. So we have some Japan and we have some summer trips that we are taking. And it's not trips, it's one trip with our friends. We are going camping. So that was that camping reservation fun, but everything else was pretty much Amsterdam. Yeah, which I already talked about how we were planning, or I was planning on spending $700, and we spent over that because of a hotel situation. So couldn't really avoid it. One thing to note here though, last month, Ari had a flight that he had to buy for a bachelor party, and we actually got money back or credits from United for, he returned that flight and got the same flight for cheaper, and he did the return, so they gave him credit for 150. So we have 150 sitting in United credit. It's not money that we have, so I didn't want to put it in like, oh, this is money we received back, or it's not a return. But at least we know we have some money back from that flight he took or he purchased last month. Just something to know in travel. Okay, let's go and move on to our next overspending category, which was eating out. And we'll take a look at eating out and just food together. What I started doing last month is breaking up our food spending per week, just so we can see where there's some discrepancies. And okay, we should have, if we bought a lot of groceries, why were we also eating out a lot? I think the best way to do that is maybe to look week by week. But obviously, you know, we had allotted $600 for groceries and $200 for eating out. And we quickly went through that eating out budgeted plan, because the second week of April, we had plans to have a dinner with my friends who I don't see often, right? Like well, some of them I do, but some I don't. And to all get together and have dinner, you know, it was a nice dinner. So we all had fun, just ordering what we wanted, not thinking about the price. So our total as a couple was $250, which was over, you know, what maybe I expected to spend, but I'm okay because, as I noted earlier in our money diaries category, we want to spend money eating out if it's with people for experiences. If it's just me and Ari, I think we're okay kind of having an experience where we're making a meal at home, or just like saving that for like larger groups. Of course, that's not gonna be the case when we're going on our honeymoon, but it is the case when we're at home. So, and right now where we're both not working full time. So spending by week is important for us to look at. And I think we did pretty good the first week where it was like, you know, we had groceries, so we didn't eat out. The second week I was away most of it, which is why, you know, we don't see that big expense here. And Ari just continued to eat the groceries that we had purchased. So that is why there was like no groceries there. And our third week, we had a total of 52 for eating out and 137 for groceries. So again, I think that's a pretty good balance there. Eating out the last week, we also pretty good balance. I think maybe the 93 for eating out was or the 59 for eating out was incorporating Ari's birthday events, right? So Ari's birthday breakfast, I treated him to breakfast, and then for his birthday surprise party, we had lunch. And so those expenses are probably what is amounting to that 59, the last week of the month. So I think the big lesson here is try to account for the actual cost of eating out as a group with more people, right? You maybe want to spend a certain amount, but you're also out with friends and you're also eating the appetizers and want to try those new things. Like, be real. How much do you think you're all going to spend? So that was like the only thing that I would say probably threw off the amount here, because otherwise, you know, if we had spent 150, like we would have been under the 800. So something, food for thought. Okay, so that was March. Let's talk about April, baby. We are going on our honeymoon. I don't know how many times I've said that already. I don't know if I have said that already. Yeah, but anyway, we're going on our honeymoon. Yes, I know we are traveling even though we're unemployed. We must never want to retire. No, we planned this months ago to go in April because ironically we said we're going to start jobs by the end of the year 2023, and you know that'll give us enough time to want to ask off for April. So let's make it a quick honeymoon. Let's do 10 days so we don't miss more than X amount of days of work. Well, joke is on past us because we are still unemployed and we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time on our honeymoon. We can't fix the situation that we're in. So we're going to enjoy ourselves while we're abroad. And that is what we're looking ahead to. So things that might impact our spending: honeymoon. We have a wedding also this weekend, which I already talked about. We are going to be spending money on the gift and the lodging for the wedding. Also have a bachelor party. Ari is landing and going straight to a bachelor party when we come back from the honeymoon. And so he's been kind of in the dark about those plans. So we can't really think about how much it's going to cost. We can just kind of guesstimate. But these are things that we cannot change. These are things that are happening. And so we must proceed with caution. And where do we want to challenge our spending? So I haven't talked about this yet, but Ari and I are taking part of it's not really a challenge, but I follow Jen Eats Good on Instagram, and she shares $50 meal recipes, or rather $50 Trader Joe's shopping list, and 5 different recipes you can make with that grocery list. And I made it last week, making another recipe from it today. And so we're gonna continue it. I told Ari, I was like, we need to really try to like think differently about how we do our groceries, because we stick to like what we know, like get the salmon, get the chicken for Ari, get the tofu and all that, but let's like try something different. So he actually enjoyed the meals I made last week, and we're gonna keep it going, because that grocery, if we're still gonna be eating out, we need to bring down the grocery bill. So when we come back from the honeymoon, that is what we are gonna continue to do for the last 2 weeks of the month. Also this week, I went grocery shopping earlier today. We spent like $20 because we are keeping it basic. We will be here from Monday to Friday lunch, and then we're doing wedding the whole weekend where there'll be food for us. So we're trying not to buy too many groceries and use the food that we got last week for this week as well. Where do you want to focus your spending on this month? So I have traveling and enjoying our honeymoon. A big thing after reviewing just my overall month of March was that I realized that taking a job search with me when I'm on a trip, which happened in Amsterdam, is not good for my mental health. It is not good for my mental health to be waiting to be on Wi-Fi to refresh my email to see if I got an offer or not. And so I want us to be okay with the fact that we are on our honeymoon, and we cannot change the fact that we are unemployed from our full-time tech jobs. Cannot change that fact. I mean, I just cannot. And so instead of stressing about work or thinking that I need to be applying to jobs while I'm on my honeymoon, I want us to just take a break from thinking about the job search. And so leading up to that, I have a whole list of jobs that I'm applying to and all of that, but I don't want the job search to be the first thing on my mind when I wake up that morning. Like, did I get an email last night while I was sleeping? Because the time difference is gonna be pretty big. So we are gonna enjoy our time. It's our honeymoon. Let's enjoy it. Money on hand, I updated this just because I completely forgot to do it in March. But anyway, we have checking account. That's our shared checking account. We each have our own separate checking account. I don't include that here. Cash that we have on hand. This is for the gift that we're giving, and then some money that we just had handy. And then our honeymoon money, we have $2,200 allocated for like honeymoon spending. So that's like for food and things that we do when we're abroad. And then we have our Get It Covered fund. So thankfully this was refunded because of that tax refund. So we're doing okay on that Get It Covered fund. We just have to make sure that we figure out how to keep that cost to a minimum, so that monthly cost to a minimum, so that we can stretch this. Of course, we have savings outside of this emergency fund that we have, but we are trying to do our best to not touch that. We are trying our hardest to not have to touch that, to not have to dip into that long-term savings account. So that is our money on hand. Income received. So obviously right now it's blank because we have not received anything yet. It is April 1st as I record this. I have a few things on Facebook Marketplace listed that people are interested in, and so hopefully they sell, and reselling could be another category for this month. But unemployment is ending in April. Unemployment ends this week. So I get my last unemployment check this week, and it's done. It is done. So I have reached out to unemployment to learn about extensions, but also when I come back, it is time to look for a part-time job. I've done it before, can do it again. I don't have a problem with that. So for now, we'll see how this ends up going. Now we have big upcoming expenses, the wedding, gift, and accommodation. So that is at $1,000. dollars is what we're estimating. Honeymoon, we are estimating 3,000 spend. So that includes the cash that we have to spend on things while we're there, but also train tickets that we have to purchase ahead of time, which we have not done yet, but we will do it tomorrow. And then Ari's bachelor party that he's going to. Again, this is like the best guesstimate that we can make. We have no idea what it's gonna cost. Fun how that works. So that is our monthly money breakdown. It's a longer video, I know, but hopefully this gives you kind of a guide of how I'm thinking about my spending in this phase of my life. Yeah, we're gonna trek through. I feel proud of what we did in March, and so I wanna replicate some of those wins for April. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, if you want to continue to follow me in my journey, then please like this video, hit that subscribe button. That is how you support my channel. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I will see you all later. Bye.